Fox News. Social media erupts over deranged teacher mocking Charlie Kirk's death in No King's viral video. This is, this stuff, guys, let me just play it. You can just, there's not much. We can put the audio on, but there's really nothing else there. It's just this fat woman in Chicago pointing to her neck saying bang over and over again. And apparently this is a school teacher.
Yeah.
This is a regular, run-of-the-mill, urban liberal in Chicago celebrating Charlie Kirk's death, effectively threatening the people that are there. You were saying just a moment ago, it's like Radio Rwanda.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how we stop what's happening.
Yeah, well, and it's even worse because Radio Rwanda was the Hutu regime, and they were in power, so they were, obviously they were the ruling regime. In this case, they feel backed into a corner. That's why they're lashing out. That's why you're seeing political violence, because they feel like they're cut off from all avenues of power right now with Trump in. And yeah, that's a very bad recipe. You have a cornered animal effectively, and yeah, it's one of those things. I mean, that we say it like every week when we're discussing these sorts of things, but it's like you have to believe these people when they say these things and they usher or gesture these things. Like they mean it. They mean it. I was
talking about this a little bit in the intro. I think it feels like the beginning of a zombie apocalypse movie. Mm-hmm. They always start with a build-up to build the suspense for you. It's like Shaun of the Dead being one of the best and worst examples because it's comedy and it's one of the greatest movies ever, I might add. But it starts with, for those that aren't familiar with Shaun of the Dead, for the love of all that is holy, you must watch that movie. But it starts with Shaun. He's like what is he, like late 20s, and he works at a copy shop, and he's like assistant manager, and he's not paying attention to what's going on around him. And he's on the bus, and he sees someone collapse. Then he's like walking, and people are coughing. Then he sees someone like down the street, and each scene you see a little bit more. But there are other movies that are Dawn of the Dead or whatever. It's like the people don't notice that one by one there's more sick people. Unlike the new zombie movies where it's like all of a sudden everyone's screaming and running full speed and they're spraying blood from their eyes like 28 days later. I'm watching all of these news stories where it's like first they're shooting up Tesla. And I'm like, whoa, that's getting crazy. Then they're shooting and killing people. And I'm like, whoa, now it's run-of-the-mill liberals. Like, you are seeing the mind virus spread and the bloodlust spread like a virus. And the question I have for you guys is, what do you do? At what point do we say, okay, this is serious and we need to take some kind of action?
I think everyone should be training and prepping for anything that happened. The reality is so destabilized right now. I think this is history kind of repeating itself too. I feels like we're in the 60s again to some degree. Not that I lived through it, but the 60s there was a lot of political assassinations, a lot of unrest.
This is way different.
But this is way different, and it's for various reasons. But like social media, the internet has accelerated it. It's like a disease vector.
Well, I think you also have the left in the modern instance is completely okay with dehumanizing people broadly, but especially their opponents. I mean, we saw it with you and your son, following the State of the Union, where they just saw a joke, like a joke they could make. Like, they don't take anything seriously. It's cool not to care about anything. It's cool to be ironic. And they don't actually really they don't assign any value to human life whatsoever. And this is just exhibit A right here.
Yeah.
Which, do you want to tell us about your district that you're running in?
District 18, Houston. That's one of the ones that they were called gerrymandering. Mm-hmm. But I didn't see the problem in them, redistricting the whole area. I mean, 18th district, it has over 500,000 people. God only gave you 2 ears, 2 eyes, and 1 mouth. How can you sit there and take on the concerns of even 10% of 500,000 people?
Yeah.
So it only makes sense to break it up. But this is the first time that it's actually going to be able to change hands, so as to say, from Democrat to Republican, because they've been holding it since, the Dems have been holding it since 73. So this is the first time, so they're losing their mind right now.
Well, Dems have had control of your district since 73?
1973.
It must be a paradise. You guys got flying cars yet?
Right. Yeah, right. You got all the Walgreens and CVS leaving, prostitution everywhere.
Wow.
Now they're finding bodies, all that. They've had 22 bodies that they found within the last 6 weeks.
What?
Yes.
How many?
22 bodies.
Holy.
And the mayor, I don't know what his problem is. Of course, he's Democrat. And he's swearing up and that it's not a serial killer. I said, dude, there's no way all of a sudden you don't have a serial killer.
Wow, man, that's dark.
Yeah, it's a lot going on. It's a lot of evil stuff happening in the world, and
It's scary because I was talking to my wife earlier about this because of this like mind virus, whatever you want to call it. I know that Elon calls it the woke mind virus and he's referring to wokeness, but there's something else. It's like a zombie virus that makes someone violent and dangerous that is spreading. And we were talking about why the left believes like Charlie Kirk is evil and they escalate to this. And I said that phenomenon doesn't exist on the right.
Yeah.
It's, don't get me wrong, it does to a small degree, but it's like I said, it's 80, 20, 20, 80. 80% of people on the right know exactly why they dislike a leftist or a liberal guy. 20% maybe just think, there's, adrenochrome or whatever's going on. 80% of liberals have no idea why they hate the right. Maybe 20% do, but I don't trust those 20% because they're probably high priests on social media or Democrat politicians.
yeah.
So what the right is, the reason I bring this up in this context is they're actively trying to look at what's going on. They're actually trying to understand it. They're actually trying to work towards solving problems. Democrats seem to either absolutely just not know, not care, or both. And so we see this in every which way. All of our major cities, riots, crumbling, collapse because the Democrats that are in charge just don't care. Conservative-minded people, moderates, they're leaving. It was interesting. Just this past weekend, I was having a discussion with some people, and they asked like how big, how many people were in New York, and someone said, I think it's 9 million people. Someone said, I think it's 7. I looked it up, and I'm like, it's actually decreased by I think around 800,000 or so people in the past 5 years. Only just now starting to turn around. Mm-hmm. But who left? It's more conservative-minded individuals. What happens is that in these districts, Democrats then get entrenched power. And you get what you're talking about, 22 bodies in a month and a half.
Yep.
Yep.
Criminals getting released.
New York in the 70s, New York City in the 70s, totally bankrupt, asked the president for a bailout. He didn't do it the first time. He eventually did do it. But the mayor, I forget who the mayor was at the time, but he decided to raise taxes to like 15%. So 600,000 people, I think, left within that first few years after that. They were priced out, plus the violence. Berkowitz was happening in the city. Arson was all over the place. I mean, they lost that's why I keep seeing like history repeating itself. However, it is different because of where we're at with the internet accelerating all this hatred.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like you're talking about, like where Democrats actually, it's an advantage for them to drive people out of the state, Republicans out of the states, because that's how, like, for example, the last gubernatorial election in New York between Zeldin and Hochul, Zeldin lost by like 350,000 people, roughly. Yeah. That's how many people left the state and moved to Florida alone. So his entire margin of victory was in Florida because COVID drove them out.
Don't forget,
that's why New Jersey actually is in play, is because a lot of Republicans have moved into New Jersey. So,
they shot up his house. Don't forget.
Yeah, they shot
up Zeldin's house.
I think his daughter was
out like hiding beneath and stuff.
I forgot about that totally.
Yeah, insane.
Yeah.
Well, the city of Houston is broke. Mm-hmm. So the mayor, the Democratic mayor, came in there and gave the firefighters $700 million. They only had $749 million on cash on hand. So the police down there, the population density is about the same as Chicago. Now, Chicago has roughly about 10,000 police officers. Houston has 5,238 officers with a population density of 2.23 per 1,000 residents. Mm-hmm. You're going to have to fend for yourself.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what it's boiling down to.
Yeah.
And it's not going to get no better. Well, it's not.
Yeah.
And the diseases you're talking about, I call them the triple C disease. You have confusion, which they're doing a lot of confusing people right now. Then they've got confusion creates chaos. They've got a lot of chaos coming. That's all that's happening. Then it comes casualties. Mm-hmm. That's the way it goes. Those 3 C's right there.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And that's how you keep what? Control.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
Yeah,
that's every city right now in this country.
Yeah, it's a feature of the system, not a bug. Sorry, it's a feature of left-wing thought, not a bug. Because any beauty that does exist in our society in 2025, which is hard to find, does rest in right-wing thought, because right-wing thought is inherently hierarchical.
Yeah.
Where the left, it's a war on hierarchy, it's a war on beauty. So like the cities turning out like Houston, like San Francisco, like Chicago, that is a feature of left-wing thought that is natural. They hate beauty. They hate anything that resembles our divine nature in any sort of way. And a clean street with, mowed grass and no trash, that's actually horrifying to them.
You don't like fentanyl and brutalism?
Yeah. Not a big fan, but Yeah, so no, they love the rats. They love garbage everywhere. Like the idea of living in a favela is like romantic to them. They literally they posted on Twitter. They're like,
that's true.
They're like, this is like a nice aesthetic right here. Check this out, and it's like it looks like a war zone, like a Call of Duty map, and they're like, this is so aesthetic. And
They'll argue because they can't think of anything more for themselves, or they don't desire anything more for themselves. No one else should have any desires
Precisely.
beyond what they want.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.